This is a segment called A Teacher's Outlook, and I'm going to be interviewing a third grade teacher who has been teaching for 28 years. So, how much have kids' respect towards teachers and each other changed over the years?
When I first started teaching, the students were very respectful. Parents were always there and listened if you had recommendations on how to help them raise their child. As time has gone by, parents, not all, but parents are more apt to believe what the child says and not come to the teacher to find out what's wrong. They're always believing that like you're picking on the child. And the depending on the child, they are misbehaving more and more nowadays, and they're not nice to other kids. I think whether it's because parents feel guilty that they're both working, and so they buy things for their children, and they feel bad they're not around. That could be a reason, I'm not sure.
Interesting. Now, in your opinion, what do you think causes kids to behave the way they do?
I think it's the way they're being raised. A portion of it is who they hang with,
Yes.
you know, peer pressure,
Of course.
but it's also what they see in their home and how they've been raised.
Oh, that's a really good point. Do you think it's also the way that they do you think television has a huge impact on that as well?
I do. I'm not sure parents monitor TV like they used to, and there's a lot of violent TV, and I think kids watch a lot of that. I also think there's a lot of video games out, and kids are playing with their video games all the time, and I don't think that's monitored either.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, what has changed in the schools since you began?
There's been a lot of changes. When I first started, we had no security around the buildings, and now we have all the doors locked, and we do lockdowns. So that's kind of an environmental thing that has changed. But we've also had to instill a behavior, in our school anyway, a behavior plan. It's called the RISE team, and we have behavior expectations that the students have to follow. So I think we've had to put a lot more of that into play than we ever used to, behavior expectations.
Now, when it comes to the lockdowns and such, can you tell me, at such a young age, that you teach, why do you think is it necessary for that? Do children bring in weapons of any? Did they bring in weapons of any sort to cause the lockdowns and such?
We've had cases of that, but mostly it's in case of an outside intruder.
Okay.
So we want them to be prepared
Yes.
what to do, and we've never had that. We want them to know what to do if we've had an incident where the ambulance had to come for a teacher, and so everyone had to stay in their classrooms. So there's those type of non-threatening lockdowns as well. So it's good to get them used to that.
Now, overall, what do you think should change in the classroom when it comes to behavior of the students?
I think as far as with teachers,
Yes.
I think teachers need to be consistent in what their expectations are. They have to have their class set of rules. It's nice if it's across the school-wide. That's why we have the RISE expectations. But teachers really need to set limits. I don't know as there's a lot of good parenting out there, and I'm not making a blanket statement because there's some great parents out there, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to parent or had kids young, and I think that maybe they don't have limits, and so at school it's really important that they do have limits and they learn to live within those.
Now, as a teacher, what do you, you personally, what do you expect from your students, and what do you think they expect from you?
I expect respect. I respect the students because they're not going to respect you if you don't respect
Oh, yeah.
them. My number one classroom rule is to be nice to each other. If everyone follows that rule, then you are and good luck. It doesn't always happen, but you get the mean girls or you get the naughty boys sometimes. But it's really nice if they know this is the number one rule. You need to be nice to each other, and then we won't have problems. And I try to be firm on that.
Now, do most of the kids follow those rules? Is it like, or do you get like a lot of the troublemakers? Do they try to go against those rules, or is it overall the students just go with it?
Because I'm consistent, they do. I have had, last year was a difficult year for me. I have had some difficult years with some difficult students, but for the most part, if they know this is what I expect, and these are the consequences if you cross that line, then, I have behavior charts and things like that, and we work for rewards. So if they know what the consequences are, then for the most part, as long as I'm consistent, they follow the rules.
That's interesting. Now, here's the big question I'm wondering. Do teachers get bullied? Have you seen teachers get bullied, or have you ever gotten bullied by students?
I have seen that, and not so much a sense of a child bullying you like you would think, but I've seen it where a child can be manipulative enough to go home and tell their parents, oh, the teacher did this, and the parent, without even questioning the teacher or talking, will automatically believe the child, and then you get into a big mess, or they call the principal or something instead of following the right, hey, what did you do, and checking with the teacher first, what happened today, and they are automatically angry and come at you really angry.
Now why do you think the students do that? Why do you think they're manipulative and want to cause a disruption like that?
Attention. From my experience, the children that do that crave attention. Maybe they're not getting it at home. Maybe their parents are working all the time. They don't see them that much. That's just what I've seen.
And how is this compared to as 28 years ago when you first began?
I don't remember seeing as much in the classroom as I do now. It could be that there are more behavior issues. There's more learning disabled